Your participation in this session, which promises to be a center of excellence around executive assistant, empowering executive assistants to become strategic partners within their organization. We have the privilege of learning this topic from Ms. Meena Valecha, ma'am, Assistant Manager to the CEO of PD Hinduja Hospital and Medical Research Center in Mumbai. A very warm welcome, ma'am, and thanks for joining us and taking out time for sharing these insights with us. Meena, ma'am, with over 30 years of experience in operations and strategic project management, ma'am has an impressive track record of driving significant process improvements, leading numerous strategic projects in the healthcare industry. She's proficient in dashboards, event management, leadership visibility projects, and has an extensive experience in managing CEO's office. Today, she will share her insights and expertise, helping us to understand how executive assistants can play a crucial role as strategic partners and drivers of organizational success. Ma'am is also certified professional in Lean Sigma, NABH quality indicators, and lean management, and many others. Sorry, ma'am, I have to summarize in very short, but it's impressive to see how you continue to enhance the knowledge and pursue the masters in excellence in all these domain areas, as playing multiple hats along in the CEO office, right? So we are excited to have you with us to explore how EAs can excel in their roles and make impactful contribution in their organization. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Meena Valecha, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Raghav.
Ma'am, you can share the screen, ma'am.
Sure.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Raghav, if you can just accept the request for sharing our screen.
Yes, you should have the Yeah, I accepted.
Okay.
You try again. Let me stop sharing my Please go ahead.
Yeah, where it is. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. 1 minute. Just open. Friends, let's start. So during the session, if you have any questions, you can ask. And at the end of the session, we can take the general questions on the subject. So as you all know, the subject is role in the COE, which is very dear to my heart because I have been the CEO's office EA for last 30 years. And we are going to talk about how EOs drive strategic implementation. Historically, if we all know, or when I started my career as a EA, the role was limited to administrative. Yes? Excuse me?
Please continue, ma'am.
Yeah. So the role was limited to administrative tasks like taking care of the office, scheduling appointments manually, and providing personal assistance to your executive and also to certain extent to the families. And the decision-making authority was very limited. As we have grown, the modern EA's role is expanded to the trusted EA and strategic partners. We collaborate more in decision-making, strategic decisions we take, and which really enhance the goals of the organization. The EA's role is shifted to project management and leadership roles. Now, generally, the key skills of the EAs are organizational skills like filing, keeping your important documents, confidential documents at the proper place, and also accessible at the easy access, I can say. And going forward, time management at all levels, the skill is required of time management for yourself and for your EA. And multitasking, rather, I would say more than multitasking, now that it is changed to multi-skill. Critical thinking, you understand the problem and handle it in a specific way. Communication skills, for the when you deal with the stakeholders, internal and external. So the communication is verbal as well as written, because EAs are the focal point from where the information is flown across the organization. Social skills, why social skills? Because most of the EAs also conduct events, manage major events, even internal meetings, major meetings within the organization, outside the organization. So socializing is very important. You should know how to handle the different levels of people at a time. Detail oriented, unless you go into the depth of the subject, you will not understand what action is required from your executive. So the understanding of the subject is must. And of course, composer, in all situations, you have to be very calm. Certain times we do the to-do list, which is very common. Before the end of the day, you have to make the to-do list for the next day. Right? We all do. But the moment you come in the morning, your to-do list is not touched only, because the day is different. Some new things are come on your table. So in those stressful situations, because you have already decided how you're going to start your day, but something else is put in your plate, you have to adapt to that situation. And also you have to be calm. In all organizations, like suppose I'm working in the healthcare, we deal with many patients, we deal with corporates, we deal with even political people. So we have to be very, our emotions to be under control, and we have to handle all the situations very tactfully. And of course, technology skills. Now, going forward as COE, COE is the hub of the operational excellency. And there the level of skills are different. You need to be a strategic thinker. And also you are handling project management. So you need the skill of how to handle the project. Project management requires planning, execution, allocating the resources, and of course, after the execution, you have to monitor the progress and see that the project is sustainable and the quality is maintained, plus it is increased. And all these projects are aligned to the organizational growth. Communication skills, of course, when you're saying operational excellency, then the communication skills also, level of communication increases. You deal with vendors, you have now being the emails, the communication is very fast, and you need to be short and crispy. Earlier, the communication was like the essays we used to write. I remember when I was working with Dr. Vijay Kumar was the medical director, and he used to write 1.5 page to 2 pages letters. And being only the electronic typewriter, we have multiple time changes in that. So really, it was a good learning. From that essays, we have learned how we need to be short, crispy, and of course, firm in your point. What you expect from the opposite party, be it internal customers and external, be with your subordinates or your seniors. You have to keep your point properly. And technology efficiency, many tools you can see the EAs are used, which we can discuss later on. Problem solving and adaptability. At every stage, you see the small or the big issues come up. Some are called the issues, some are called the problems. So these are to be tackled very analytically, and of course, you have to adapt to the situations. And as you're managing the projects, you are the strategic manager. The leadership quality is must. And EAs play the role of from the initiator to the execution, and as I said, to the sustainability of the project. And of course, at the time we handle multiple projects also. With all these things, confidentiality and discretion is the no compromise for the EAs. Or I will say not only for the EAs, for all the managers, we had to remember confidential is confidential, even if we know, but we had to tell ourselves, remind ourselves we don't know. Then only we can control on our tongue. And of course, discretion, you should know what information to be given to the person and at what time. Second thing is multitasking. As I said, multitasking. Now, suppose you are doing some work on the PC, your boss rings up, so you cannot normally, yes, continue typing and pick up the phone also. Along with that, when you are talking, you schedule the appointments. So these are the multitasking, many such things we do. And of course, time management at for every manager, time management skill is must. Clear with everyone? Any questions? Okay. Now, center of execution, there are key functions. Anything?
No, ma'am.
No, please carry on.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
sure.
Great
Okay.
going.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, key functions of the COE is, as we discussed, the project management. So, project management, that means you have to execute the strategy. Execute the strategy, as we discussed earlier, there's a planning. There should be the process to be followed, and then performance to be monitored. And when you're handling the projects or strategic events you're handling, the cross-functional collaboration is there within the organization. You deal with multiple departments, or we can say in my organization, I work with all the departments. So this is the like collaboration we build up. And resource allocation. When we talk about the resource allocation, is the time, money, personal, material, and equipment. So sometimes the projects are, see, we don't work on one at a time. There may be multiple projects going on. So we have to see what is the urgency, importance, which project gives the more growth, and accordingly we have to align the resources. And of course, we had to see other projects are also to be justified. Going forward, why COE is important for the ES? COE brings the efficiency and focus. When there's a COE, you're focused on one thing, you work on with a clear mindset what you have to achieve, what is good for the organization, what is beneficial for you, for your organization, and for your immediate superior. So these three things are aligned. And of course, you work with the efficiency. There's a centralized accountability and of course, adaptability. There are certain situations when you are in handle the projects. Suppose a vendor was supposed to supply lenses. So do you rely only on one vendor to supply? If you rely only on one vendor, then definitely something or the other thing will happen. Then you have to cancel these surgeries. So to avoid the situations, we had to have multiple vendors in our hand. Then why this shift has come and what are the aspects which has brought this shift from administrative support to the strategic execution partners for the ES? Now, if we talk about the earlier role, it was only the task management. As we said, is the office management, scheduling meetings, managing calendars, and handling correspondence, and organizing the travel at the very intermediate level. Whereas if we talk about the same thing, we handle strategic projects. Complex projects are handled. We track the progress, ensure deadlines are met, and provide regular update to the senior leaders. Now, if we talk about, like, suppose a civil project is going on now in our Hinduja Hospital, a new building is coming up near the Mahim station, which we are going to build this as the laboratory. So this is the project is for 3 years. So it's the regular monitoring is to be done and the update is to be given to the seniors. There are some compliance is to be done. So we have to ensure the flow is so going on smoothly. If it is halted somewhere, we have to handle there and there so that the deadline is not crossed to further. From reactive, earlier the role of the EA was reactive. The bosses gives the work and secretary does it. That's all. Whereas now it is a proactive. They are efficient. They are proactive. They see what is foreseen events are coming and they prepare in advance. Now, example, NABH audit takes place in the healthcare. So every year it is in May. So do efficient and proactive EA wait for the boss to say prepare for the NABH? No. Suppose I'm handling the committee's work. I have 35 committees in my hand, which is the NABH requirement. So all the minutes are to be monitored, meetings are handled or done regularly, that progress is to be done, and the meeting's objective is with the objective of the committee that is to be aligned, and the information is to be put it to the immediate senior boss so that the same is to be given to the NABH on the portal. Operational efficiency was the earlier role of the EAs, such as maintaining a well-organized office, as I said, office finding work, overall decorum of the office, and of course, day-to-day activities to be run smoothly. That's all the role of the EAs. Now we had to align our energy, our thought process with the organization goal and think in the strategic way, the workflow and allocate resources effectively so that executives' time is saved and they focus on the high impactful activities. Now, taking the same example of NAVH audit, if my boss has to take care of the committees monitoring whether the meetings are done, their renewals are done, whether their attendance is proper, so then he will have less time for other impactful things. But if the efficient or proactive EA does it, then his time is saved for other things. Gatekeeping is famous for the gatekeeping. So always they say पहले secretary को सलाम मारो तो आपको अंदर मिलेगा जाने को. But it's not like that. Gatekeeper मतलब secretaries ensure the boss's time is not wasted on the small things what they can manage on their own. That's the reason they see whether that meeting is compulsory to be done, how the information is flown, whatever they can handle on their own, protecting the time of the executive. So most of the communication is handled by the ES. And whereas now ES also support the decision making. Lot of research is done by the secretaries for the EA. Now the old name was secretary, so still we talk about the secretary. And research is done and they analyze the data and presenting insights and to the executives so that informed decisions are taken. Here reminds me about the some projects we handle. Like we had two branches in Mumbai. One is in Mahim and another is in Khar. So when the Khar was built up, a lot of our executives were supporting for that new hospital, and a lot of time was devoted on the same activity. And when it was built and it started, the time came there where we had to decide how to compensate them. So that was the really question mark, how to they had put in a lot of effort. So it is our duty to compensate them. So my boss, that time Mr. Pramod Lele was the CEO. So he just casually spoke to me. Now we have to work on this, Meena. We have to see how we can do it. And my immediate reaction was, so we can give one-time award. And he liked it. And very proudly, I say this concept of one-time award We are using it even now for many projects, like union agreements take place. So for that time also, this is a big process. 6 months nearly takes, where HR, finance, and executive work very closely on that. Lot of meetings are held with the unions and all. Then again, question comes when the agreement is signed, payments are released to the staff. Then how to take care of our the executive CXOs who has put in extra energy, extra time they had devoted to materialize this issue. So again, we use that concept of one-time award. So employee is also happy, even organization is also happy, and executives team is also happy. So that is why a one-time award is necessary. So that burden is not for the longer duration. If we increase in pay, that burden is continuous. Whereas it's a one-time award you are given, so the organization is not burden on the continuous payment. Administrative skills, as we said, organizational skills and communication skills. And whereas we think about the business acumen, as I talked about the one-time award, so it's the business strategy. Why to burden the organization? That resources we can use it for some other things for the benefit of the larger community of the hospital. We can use in many other things which are beneficial for the and like even the I can say when any CXO is putting extra hours, he's not putting alone. His full team is putting. So we had to take care of those things also. Like extra funds we can use for the other stuff also. Earlier, the ES role was supportive role. They were called as the supportive staff is there who's assisting the office, who's there when boss is not there to take care of the small things. Whereas there is the leadership partner. ES take the decisions, high level discussions are taking place. Even now they are involved into the mergers and acquisitions also. Their views are honored, is the bridge between the leadership team and the rest of the organization, because every information flows from the EA to the other to the rest of the organization. And as I said, EA's drive on the execution and accountability. Now, how this shift has happened, what made it to happen? Of course, it is complexity of business and executives demands, because executives also have a lot of things in their hand to do, so they empower their EAs to take load of the work, extra work, so that their time is saved for the other major things. Like if we talk about the internal audits we take place in our hospital, so there are the internal auditors who do the internal audits of all the departments, and they make the reports. So wherever there's some areas where they feel the protocol is not followed, or they feel there are some lacunas to be addressed, so the draft internal audit is report is prepared by the chairman of the audit who sits in our head office. Now that report comes to our office, and then it is given to the concerned department head. He assesses with his team, takes sometime 1 month also takes for them to revert on the response. They see whether they are really lacunas and whether some of them can be overcome and some of them cannot be changed. So their response is received in the CEO's office, and then CEO's office sends a response to the chairman of the audit. Based on that, the chairman of the audit committee goes through the same, and he makes the final report, which is received again by the CEO office. And every 6 monthly, the audit committee meeting is held, where they take up the same reports what we have received in last 6 months. Like on an average, we can say two internal audit reports we receive in a month. So 12 audit reports are taken place. And at the same time, CEO office has to make the presentation, like stating what the discrepancies were found by the internal audit, what responses we have submitted, and what is the status as of today. Suppose when the management response is given, definitely we promise that these things will be changed or there will be certain different process to be followed so that the corrective steps are done. So it is must we have to see whether the same is done or not. So we have to monitor the progress. And sometimes even internal audit chairman also highlights where the reports are received late. So there's a question mark always. So we should not unnecessarily take longer time to reply it. So all this work is taken by the ES. If CEO has to devote his full time in all this activity, then where he has time for the other impactful things. And by saying, no one will realize how much the time and energy required from the EAs to tackle this problem, because you have to be continuously monitoring whether the replies are received, whether the final reports we have received or not. And of course, technology advancement, because a lot of tools have come up. Like earlier, the EAs were scheduling the appointments manually. Now there's a calendar management, there's a task management. We schedule the tasks, which makes the work very easy and efficiently we do. So that extra time we save, which makes EA to think differently, to contribute in other projects by default, because EAs have a lot of energy and they foresee the problems and of course foresee what are the agenda items coming in their plate. So they prepare themselves well in advance. So all these things make the shift from administrative assistant to strategic partners. Now, what is the role of EAs in the COE? What do they do actually? Contribution. First of all is the coordinatorships. They coordinate across the hospital, managing projects. As I said, resource allocation, we talk about the um, not only is the time, money, personal equipment, and of course, we have to see whether these resources are optimally utilized or not without compromising on the rest of the projects. So, all projects are important, but some are of the urgency. Accordingly, the resources are to be allocated. And scheduling management and cross functional collaboration, as we talk across the organization, is flows the information. It's the contact point, focal contact point. All information is passes from ES. Any doubts on the subject matters are checked with the EAs. What did boss say? I couldn't understand. Can you clarify? There's the EA role comes who clarifies what is the boss's expectation from you, how this project to be tackled, what is the urgency of this matter. Sometimes they meet the CEO and assume this will be required. Okay, 2-3 days we have, we can reply later on. But it's the EA who makes them know this is to be given in 24 hours time. Why there's a urgency. These things are to be done by the EAs. And of course, communication, ensuring alignment and information flow. Flow, as I said, it is from the ES flows to the whole of the organization. They are the liaison person with the direct reportees, out internal and outside external vendors, and of course, all the staff of the organization. Reporting and communication, if we say many meetings are handled, so MOUs are prepared for the by the ES, and of course documentation is to be done. Now, even the small meeting is held informally. That is the EA's role who takes place, noting down, taking the documentation and keeping it for their record. Like, yes, this is all discussed and this is the action plan. So even the informally way, they keep the note of all points. And as we discover the internal and external communication and information gatekeeping, information flows from one point to across the hospital. They are the facilitators for the smooth execution of strategic plans. EAs are the initiators, as we discussed, initiate the proposals, work on the execution. So, of course, there are certain problem-solving issues or resolution that are all mostly done by the EAs. Only in the major problems the CO is involved. Meeting facilitation, agenda preparing, then a meeting attendance. EAs also make sure there's a quorum for the meeting. So before scheduling the meeting, they had to see the concerned people are around. Like suppose in some of the meetings you need some directors and there's a mixture of head of medical departments or some doctors. So that is the EA's role who makes sure the HOD medical side is available. He doesn't have OT on that day, operation theater, and he doesn't have clinic on that day so that our patients are not compromised. So accordingly, tactfully, the timing should be scheduled. But sometimes the meeting is so important, you had to drag them. So the advance information is given. And of course, minutes of the meeting are prepared. Now as the new trend is come, minutes of the meeting to be given on the same day. If the 4 o'clock meeting is got over, then early morning, 9 o'clock, the minutes are to be when the executive table at 9 o'clock. So that is also the time management skill. And of course, action points on them so that everybody is on the same page and immediate actions are taken place. And as we said, actions are to be taken place. There are many decisions are taken at the meeting. So immediate execution is done. And if there are any crisis management, EA is the first person who handles it. They foresee the situation and then prepare themselves, prepare the executives also, and handle it well. Now, why is the role of ES is important in COE? As we talk, focus, efficiency, and there is a centralized accountability. They bridge between the planning till execution. The process is tactfully is handled by the EAs. And of course, as we say, driving consistency and maintaining quality. Now, as we say, EAs also contribute as the strategic partners in execution. As we discussed about earlier, the maintaining the preparing agenda, meeting coordinating, as we talked about it, align everyone's schedule, MOM are prepared, and follow-up actions are done. Then managing critical timelines, project timelines, as we talk about our Mahim lab building. So the project is for 3 years. Every month we had to monitor the progress. We cannot say after 6 months we review. 6 months is the long duration. Every monthly, in our monthly report, we track the performance and put it in our monthly report also, so that there is accountability on the concerned head of the projects. There's accountability, and of course we also see how it is progressing. If we foresee any licensing is required, any compliance is required, immediately we had to address that. Tracking and prioritizing the tasks. If the project is taken place, if it is suppose external project, we are talking of the land, if we are talking, what is the prioritization? Prioritization is get the compliance done before building, creating the building. So the compliance at that point is important. Then supporting execution, resource management, and problem solving. Resource management, already we had talked. Plannings to be done, all resources to be aligned to all projects, and we have to make sure optimally utilized. If we talk about the personnel, any personnel appointed in the organization, the usage, overusage and underutilized both is bad for the organization. So we have to see if we appoint of any person for the concerned project, the utilization is optimum. Now, aligning the operations with the long-term goals. Any organization works on the long-term sustainability. So our objective is to work on the long-term goals. Of course, we had to do it in the phased manner. So key aspects of EA's role in aligning operations with long-term goals is prioritizing the tasks in line with strategy. This reminds me about 6 months ago, we have signed the MOU with the King's College London. So that full process took nearly a year. So once the agreement was to be signed, that is the priority. Then other things are kept aside. So this is the priority we have. The ES has to take place, how other meetings are to be taken the back seat. And of course, any important crisis should not be neglected because you're working on one project. Then tracking and reporting, as we had done the KCL MOM, we had to see what we had decided on that. There was an exchange of knowledge. If we have signed the MOU, you have paid certain amount, you have got the brand of the KCL and they got the brand of Hinduja. We had to make sure we are moving forward. We are exchanging the knowledge. For that, the periodical meetings are to be done, the minutes of it to be done, and the team is to be aligned on the objective of the organization. Why we have signed the MOU, what is the objective of that, what we are going to gain it, what our staff is going to gain from it, and how it is going to impact the organization. And of course, operational efficiency for strategic execution and facilitating communication and alignment. As I said, EAs are the liaisoning personnel for the internal, external, and the executive, and of course, across the organization. They make sure the information flows smoothly and on the right time. You cannot delay certain important information. If the meeting is to be called tomorrow, you cannot send the notice and agenda today evening. You need to respect others' time and give certain time to plan their day also. Even though you have verbally spoken, ki, okay, next week we are going to meet, that verbal doesn't have more impact. You have to put it in writing, at least block their calendar. Okay. Now, EAs also act as the project leaders. As we say, they give strategic support. If when we had talked about the internal audit reporting, and we also spoke about the committees, I handle 35. This all called the strategic support is given to my boss so that his time is saved for other things. And it is all data is ready to be put it to the higher authorities. As and ease of the communication hub, as we say, is the focal point for the communication across the hospital, and data management is done, resources coordination, adaptability, and proactive problem solving. You cannot just wait, let the problem happen, let the adverse thing happen, then we'll think how to handle. Your 1, 2, 3 processes are to be on your own. For all these things, any EA should not wait for the direction from the executive to inform. Then you are not the project leader or not the strategy leader. Then you are still on at the entry level, which is called the administrative support we are giving. Now, key responsibilities of EAs are planning, stakeholder coordination, as we talk, stakeholder internal, external, both, scheduling appointments, scheduling meetings, calendar management, allocation of resources, and documentation. Any discussion, any decision taken needs to be documented. Is there evidence? And there's accountability with all the respective who were attendees of the meeting. And of course, as we talk, we have to monitor the performance of the project. Now, this reminds me, I handle 64 strategic projects. So for strategic projects, we have to have accountability for the each CXO. So we have made it the system monthly. We have a meeting only on the strategic project. We don't conflict with other management team meetings. Early when we started with the projects, those were 50. So we thought that there will be a review from all the CXOs in the monthly management team meeting. Then we realize as it is going forward, there's a good progress. We had to let a lot of see how is the revenue generation and how is the spending, finance part also to be taken care of. So we decided to have the separate meeting monthly. So after the management committee meeting, then in the next week we have the meeting on the strategic planning, strategic plans. So on that, we get the feedback update from all the CXOs. Those are updated in the Excel sheets. Again, we have to see what was, and along with that, they also has to plan for the subsequent month. Suppose there's a uh, this time it is achieved say result of 5%. So what is the progress you are planning for that next month has to be done. So that is the benchmark. Then that actual performance will be checked with the budgeted ones. Then that is called the monitoring of the progress. And of course, we have to check on the budget monitoring and any project, whether it's a one project, whether it's 64 page projects or more than 64, we should not compromise on the quality. If we are compromising on the quality of any project or quality of any service, then that project is not necessarily required to be done. Then better we have to concentrate on only what is going on, not to expand. Then closing of the when the project is completed, I reached 100% result. Every monthly we perform, check the performance, and the project is at the closure. So if the closure is done, that there is a deliverables also done. There we have to make sure the continuity of the same project and take the same to the other level of higher. That is the project evaluation again to be done periodically, if not monthly, at least 6 monthly, where one has to review those projects also. Leadership and influence in the EAH, as we say, is the communication hub, communicate with across all the executives and with all types of people, be it the 4-class people, be it the administrative staff, be it the officers level and CXO level, trustee level, outside vendors and all. So the information is flows from the EA office. And EAs have by default have the authority, which is not to be misused, used for the organizational growth. And since it is used for the organization growth, EA don't understand, don't realize what powers we have, what authority we have. Any call from EAs is taken as boss's word. This is the authority we have. And since we use it so meticulously, the opposite person also don't feel you are commanding on them. It's called the people management. And building relationship, as I said, we also have socializing skills. So when the events are handled, we know which person to be handled in what way, how to engage in the conversations, and also building relationship in the work environment is essential. Managing conflicts without hurting anyone, because we all work for the growth of the organization, which everyone's bread and butter, and we believe in smooth collaboration. Now, with all these projects, strategy, right from administrative, calendar management, EA also use lot of tools because they use the tools which make their work easy, and they had time for other extra things to take care of. Like the tools required, as I mentioned earlier, the earlier it was the physically, we used to maintain the diaries and write the appointments. We used to schedule the tasks. We should make the paper on a paper. We have to schedule how the task to be done, how we progress it. But now there are tools who taken care of even. But there is a calendar management, which is a very easy thing and very simple. And but still, I feel some of the EAs feel resistant to use it. They just send calendar blocking, but they don't know, some of them they may not be knowing how to attach the email also. So please upgrade into all these things and make use of the tool which is available to us. and documentation, collaboration, and emails. Even emails are very easy to manage because we can schedule the time for emails. Suppose I had typed 10 emails today, but I don't like this. Reminds me of the Doctor's Day. Doctor's Day is the 1st July we celebrate in a hospital. So there's a tendency, there's a culture, the email goes from the CO office to all the doctors congratulating on the doctor's day and appreciating their services and all. So normally I prepare the letter, get it signed, scan it and all, then I schedule it for the next day. Now recently in last year also my boss was asking, so Minaji, what time will be sending? Because come around 10 o'clock in the office. Can't it be too late? Can we do it from home? I said, no, I will not do it from home. So he's saying, so how will do? I said, I'll do it today. They will receive early morning 5 o'clock in their inbox. He's saying, how? I said, I'll schedule it. So I did it. And then same thing I taught to my car hospital EA. We did the trial also and asked her, you send it in the early morning 5 o'clock. So this is the scheduling trick which really makes our job easy, and we are able to, like any doctor receiving first thing in the morning email from the CEO congratulating the doctor's day, it is as good as congratulating on their birthdays. And with these facilities, definitely the ES efficiency is increased and they utilize the extra time on the other things. And because there's an efficiency and they're passionate for the work and there's a lot of time also, again, the extra time can be spent on the new learnings, new developments, new skills we have to develop in ourselves. Keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. And of course, AI has also made our life easy. Use AI in MS Office. ChatGPT is a good tool for us to prepare the letters, even speeches. Normally, you put your thoughts so well in your PPT, whatever you want to put it, just put it in your document and just check with the ChatGPT. Your job is done easily. So I would request all the EAs, all the seniors to embrace the artificial intelligence, make use of ChatGPT, and of course, one has to remember it is not going to replace the human. Human touch is also always be there. Like any other person, even EAs also face these challenges. They are not forbidden from that. One is, of course, time management. Because of the WhatsApp in our hand, EAs are supposed to be available 24 by 7. With the 24 by 7 availability, how to balance the personal life and the work life? That's the challenge. And of course, practical strategy for overcoming these challenges we have to work on this. And everybody doesn't get the opportunity to grow. That seniors has to understand. They have to see the potential in the secretaries, what they have, their EAs, what type of work they do, how they to be groomed for the higher position. I really suggest they should be allowed to make small mistakes so that they take the onus of the mistakes and they learn from their mistakes and groom themselves for the higher responsibilities. And of course, some of us have the fear of change, like ChatGPT also quite took a long time for us to accept it. First is definitely the technology is new, whether it's the uh, I'll say fear-free cyber crime also we see. So for from there, and of course when the new position we receive, we don't want to come out of the comfort zone. So I would suggest when you're young, that time also you take the calculated risk. Even when you are at the retirement age, that time also take the calculated risk. With this, I think we have understood now the EAs are the strategic initiators, not only initiators, the executors and continuity of the projects. They align, excuse me, button on karo, button on karo. And they also align with the organizational success. Future of the EAs is very important. As we see, the career path is grown from administrative assistants. Then it went to the reactive, where bosses commands and the job is done. With the knowledge, with the expertise, and they develop the interest in their job, they become passionate, they show the efficiency and become proactive. Actually, they engage themselves in higher jobs and prepare themselves for the foreseen issues, follow some commitments also. They make themselves prepare for the same thing. And eventually, they are the strategic leadership partners. Now, how it is done, as we discussed, the growth is from reactive, where they make the handle the office work. From there, they become efficient, proactive, align their thoughts, align their energy, because EAs are found to be very energetic, enthusiastic, full of zeal in the office. Even if they have thousand things on the table, but any person approach, they will never show they are busy. That is the commitment. Even I got it, compliment. And of course, strategic leadership eventually is a role. With this, what roles we can expect when you grow? Of course, you can be the chief of the staff. Some of them, of our EAs, they have now taken the role of public relation officers, which even I was also offered, but I was more comfortable in the strategic role, which I am playing now. And one of our executive assistants, she has moved to HR department and handling the ER and employee engagement. And of course, we handle management, management, strategic management. And one of our colleagues had did the after graduation, she started with her EA role, and eventually, once she settled down in her personal life and in her career also, then she thought of doing the masters. After doing masters and all, she now administrator at one of the educational institute. And many of my friends I have seen they have become entrepreneurs. One of for my friend has returned from Muscat, where she was the EA. Now she's handling the one center she has opened for learning and development. And of course, one in Mumbai also, I have seen, I have a group where I'm the life member for the ISEB. There are few members who are again started with the training and development. So this is the one skill, and even event management is the skill of ES. Where one can be the event manager also. They can open up their own business and on the event management. All this possible, the success of ES is possible only with one thing, that is the discipline. And how to build, how you to be need to be disciplined. Of course, there are 5 Ds into that. Determine the importance. Any task you have to determine how important it is. We have learned any task you get, first you have to make a tabulation: important, urgent, unimportant, unurgent. Where it is not important, you can delegate. Not necessarily you have to put in your efforts. You can delegate if possible. And of course, if it is the urgent need to be done fast, at first thing in the on the agenda. And as I said, there's an important, for important also you should have the deadline. Everything cannot be important, everything cannot be urgent. So when you make the to-do list, don't make to-do list only for a day. You should have multiple to-do lists. One is for today, one is what you want to achieve for the week, what you want to achieve during the month. Look, as I said, I'm handling 50 projects are in my hand, which have grown to 64. I'm handling internal audits, which are nearly 12. And again, we have committees, 35 committees. So if I say everything is important at one place, cannot be done. And also I am creating dashboards. Monthly, at least 2 dashboards are created. One is for the monthly meeting. and another is for the strategic meeting, and another we had to parallelly prepare for our board meetings, and some new meetings come up from the higher ups, so we have to prepare for that. Suppose, for example, we have to make the monthly report. Now, earlier it was the monthly report I used to get it at by 7, and the performance review meetings are kept where my boss has to present the monthly report. Then eventually we realized with the growing business and a lot of activities going on, then I started getting the monthly reports by 10th of the month. I fully agree. They had to collaborate all the data in that, respect it. And then if the performance review meeting is kept on 14th, it's not feasible. In 4 days, I had to collate the data, submit it to my boss. My boss has to run through at least once and then present it at the performance review meeting. So I took a call and I informed my head office the monthly review meeting will be held third week of the month because there is a lot of preparation to be done by my team, which was taken in a good spirit. And now we have monthly review meetings only in the third week of the month, which give me time to prepare the monthly report in a proper way so that our time is not wasted in making multiple drafts. So I make one draft, that is the final, and my boss runs through and he presents it. So that deadline, sometimes we had to take a step, we had to take a decision on that, because sometimes they don't know the how much efforts are required to making the monthly report or even the strategic plans presentation. Of course, decide on the plan of implementation, and as I said, delegate if possible. And once you have decided you want to take up the higher responsibility, or you want to do the new things, or you want to develop your skill, or you want to do some extra coaching, please do it. No time is bad, no time is good. Once you decide it is in your mind, please do it. And to summarize it, we just say it's not the administrative support. EAs are the key players in driving strategic implementation within organization. It reminds me, we have one EA at Hinduja Hospital, Dr. Rajendra Patankar, who was working for the CEO as the EA and also taking care of the business development. Now, if you see, he is the chief executive officer at the Wockhardt Hospital in Pune. So this is the progress they have made. Then another case reminds me, we had Dr. Sarita Khobrekar, who was also MBBS doctor, then that master's in from TIS. Then she was the EA to CEO. With She worked with Mr. Pramod Lele, and then she went to the clinical areas. She took a break for 9 months. She groomed herself and then came back to Hinduja Hospital with the position of Director Medical Services. And about 2 years ago, she retired from the position of Medical Superintendent of Tata Hospital. I worked for Mr. Gautam Khanna. I got a lot of scope to upgrade myself. I get a lot of mentorship, which motivates me to every day do new things. So I request all seniors in the group, please allow your staff to grow. Help them out, do mentorship. If not every day, at least once in a week, spend 10 minutes with your EA. Guide them what is the expectation of the organization from them and align the energy. Thank you so much. Any questions there?
Wonderful, ma'am. No, I'm truly amazed by so many roles that EAs play. It's like quite eye-opening for me personally. And it recalls me of a famous US TV series Suits. So there was this EF to Harvey Specter, the famous lawyer. She was promoted to chief operating officer because she knew the culture and company and everything so well that that like opened up so many things. So I'll maybe open the floor for questions. Manish sir, anything you'd like to add?
Raghav, can you switch on my this thing?
Yeah, let me make you co-host. You should be able to put up the video now.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello, ma'am. Wonderful, very insightful.
Thank you so much, sir.
And it's beyond my expectations. We never knew actually, such a great role is, play in organizational, success or rather coordination also. Hmm. So I have a question. Suppose your EA is your say your CEO is out of country, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And where because of the time zone difference,
Hmm.
it's difficult to coordinate on say hourly basis. So in
Hmm.
those situations, how do you handle? Because show must go on, and there could be some important calls or important inputs you have to share with coordinating teams. So that's my question.
See, as we said, sir, there should be delegation of work. When any superior, any first authority goes on leave for especially out of country, so any organization has to have one backup plan, not at that level, at least a second, third line. But the key focal point for contact or running through all the mails we received in the organization for the CO is ES. Then ES decide on the that subject what is important to be handled in his absence. And now being in the era of WhatsApp and emails, we get immediate responses from our bosses also. So most of the load is handled by the ES. But of course, when there are certain important approvals and all, then we should have the second line available.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
One question I had was, what is the difference between, you mentioned secretary word quite a lot,
Yeah.
the role of secretary evolving to executive assistant, and coming from the tech side, a lot of Silicon Valley people, they use the term chief of staff and something of that sort. And I've seen those roles quite similar, becoming the second brain to the CEO and helping build strategic relations and getting things done overall. How do you differentiate these
Yeah.
different titles?
Raghav, good question. So earlier, when we started the assistance to any authority, first of all, I must tell you, the any person having the EA is earned by him, so that that person has reached to that texture, he has having the assistant to share the load. So earlier, it used to be the secretary. Like doctors have secretaries, doctors doesn't have EA's role. The secretary will take care of the basic administrative work of managing the day-to-day functions of the organization. That was the EA role. Administrative role was handled by the secretary. Then eventually, as I said, the technology has grown. The EAs involve themselves into higher decision making activities, projects. They lead the projects and strategic projects and all. So the role is expanded to the EA level. Now EA is in the CEO's office, is managing the whole of the organization people. That is why it's called the chief of the staff. Indirectly, we manage CXO. CXOs report to the CEO. That means the focal point is the EA. Doctors report to CEO. The focal point, the HR activities also done by the EAs. And then I say when we talk about the administrative role, the secretary role, the role was only helping them in the travel, like ticketing का flight बता दिया, paper दे दिया. But where is now we had to manage their travel plan. We had to know which country is going, how much currency he will need, which credit cards he will carry, who is the contact person on reaching there, who is the taxi driver he has to contact. All this information is given, whether he is talking as a panelist or he is talking as the main speaker. Accordingly his speech, his presentation is to be made, and we had to see the comfort of our bosses over there. Now many time when our team of people goes and we book the stay in some hotel, I make sure my boss's room is upgraded because he's a CEO. He has to be different from other people. So that is not our JD. This is not told by our boss. That is our passion for the work. We have to bring difference to his life. We have to show our existence. As we work on the visibility of our bosses, we handle their PR activities, multiple PR activities. We take care of the interviews, we schedule their, as well when the requests come, we have to analyze the uh, that company, and then we have to support them on the talks and all. So we work on their visibility, and along with their visibility, we increase our visibility also because the contact person is us.
Yep. You are the front line facing all the communication
Yeah.
for the CXO. I'll maybe just do a call. Rahul ji, Anita ji, Deepa ji, Meenakshi ji, Shekhar, any questions you have, please feel free to unmute or type in the chat. Any thoughts or reflections from your perspective? Right. Manish sir, any closing thoughts?
No,
Any-
actually, we can discuss a lot of things offline, and there's a lot actually to discuss further. And she's got a time constraint also.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So thank you so much, madam. It was really very enlightening, and we discovered a lot.
Thank you so much, sir, giving me opportunity to come on this
Yeah.
platform.
And in fact, coming year, sometime around June or so, we will come out with a compendium. So
Hmm.
again, we'll request you to say share your thoughts in 2 page or 3 page.
Sure.
And that we will be marketing and will be say composing and marketing, printing and marketing all over. So
Okay.
that's very important chapter. This would be very important chapter.
Mhm.
It's for all the masterclass speakers.
Yeah, surely we'll talk it later. No issues, sir.
Right then. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thank you so much, sir. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank
With
you,
that,
everybody.
we conclude the session for today. Appreciate your time, and thanks again, Meena ma'am, for taking your time.
Bye. Bye.